After Ashton Genty, most people have Omarion Hampton or Caleb Johnson as their 2025 RB2, but I have TreVeyon Henderson as my RB2 due to the simple nature of he's a better pass catcher in my opinion, and he's also more explosive. For PPR leagues, I would rather take a guy that I project to be a potential elite pass catcher and very explosive, can hit home runs in the NFL versus a bruiser where those PPR points are going to be so much more important. That explosive nature is going to outweigh that, extra 2 to 3 yards that Hampton or Johnson may give you in the short term on the ground. But I'm going to be diving into Henderson's advanced stats and breaking down the film for you guys so you can see my take of why I have Henderson as the RB2 in the 2025 rookie draft class. So to give some context about Henderson, he broke out as a true freshman running for 1,248 yards, 15 touchdowns, also caught 27 passes for over 300 yards. That is easily way more than either Johnson or Hampton as a freshman. But unfortunately, in 2022 and 23, his sophomore and junior year, he only played in 8 and 10 games, dealing with an injury from his sophomore season, which lingered over those 2 years. Wasn't really 100% until the end of 2023. And I did see him play in person, and he looked fantastic in that one game against Minnesota. And in 2024, I'm sure you guys know this, but he is splitting the backfield with Quinshon Judkins, one of the better backs from this 2025 class as well. And while the total stats weren't the same as his freshman year, that's why we never see it hit back to those kind of numbers. He still had 23 passes caught for close to 200 yards. Very impressive. And on the ground, he was still very efficient. Actually, the most efficient of his career, running for 7 yards per carry, even though he only had 118 attempts. Now, when you first look at Henderson's PFF grade, the first thing you'll see is that 73.9 grade in 2022. We talked about that was an injury-riddled year, so it was not a fantastic season. But what we love to see is him bounce back, get to an elite 90 PFF grade in 2023, and a solid 86.1 the next season in 2024. But looking at some of the more important advanced stats, the 2024 comparables, fantastic rushing grade at 89.6, and the zone grade. Now, this is the difference between him and Caleb Johnson and Omarion Hampton. Those guys are a lot better up the middle. The zone grade for them is a lot better. But with Henderson, that's not where he makes his money. He makes his money in his elusive rating and gap grade. So what that means is elusive rating is obviously just the explosiveness, the ability to make cuts, open field, all that stuff. You can clearly see he is above average in that category. And gap grade, 90.3, that's more so the outside stuff, the big play, the explosive versus the between the tackles. That is extremely, extremely good. I mean, that is almost one of the best in the nation, I believe it is. You see he's at the very far right of that scale at 90.3, and yards after contact, 4.17. You wouldn't expect that based on the fact that he's not very good with his zone grade, but he's still a very big back. I believe he's standing at about 5'10", 215 pounds according to the measurements we have right now. So even though he is very explosive, even though he can catch the ball, he's also good with his yards after contact, which we'll see a bit on the film. Turning on the film, the first thing I want to point out is Henderson is a pretty good size, 5'10", 210 pounds, and while he's not going to run guys over at an elite level like Omarion Hampton, like Caleb Johnson, he's not bad. You'll see here this first play, not a great run, but the second play, when he gets a pretty decent hole, he's able to hit the hole up the middle, run a guy over. He definitely shows flashes like right here. You see, if it's a good enough hole for him, he's able to burst through that, sort of middle of the line, able to run a guy over, be kind of physical. Right here, he's not going to really be able to do anything special. There's a decent hole right here, and he does get kind of tripped up by that defensive tackle. It's just not like he's a bad running back between the tackles. He's just not elite. I'd say it's not a big weakness. It's just adequate, slightly above average at best. One of the things I really do like about Henderson's game, though, is he has good patience. Right here, it's not going to result in much, but as you guys can see, he's given the ball and does a little stutter stop right here. He plants his foot. He looks to see if he should bounce this outside. He sees the defender that would hit him right here and decides against it when there's a hole right at the middle. All he sees at this moment is a one-on-one with number 30, who is the safety, a decent while back, But unfortunately, he doesn't run this the best. He probably could have, got in a little more to the right. I understand what he's trying to do. He's 34, not really being picked up, so I get it. But I would have tried to angle it a little more to the right. Either way, not a huge deal. Again, I don't think that this is a massively bad play or a red flag by any means, but he's not doing more than what's asked of him through the tackles. So right here, we're going to see Henderson out of the backfield and does a good job catching the ball. Now, neither of these are too far past the line of scrimmage, but it's a wheel route, not just a screen pass, so fairly complex route tree. We'll see it later on. But the thing that really sticks out to me is he doesn't look like a pedestrian pass catcher. The ball hits his hands very soft and does a good job looking to turn upfield right here, ready to make a move. On this play, ready to get upfield and gets eaten up by the sidelines. But good job on both of those. You can see he clearly is a fairly good natural pass catcher. On this play right here, displaying the good vision once again. He's not just trying to go 0 to 100 right away. You'll see. Gets the ball and does a good job assessing the situation. Kind of just stops right here, and he has two options now. He could try and get small, get up the middle, or he could try and bounce it, use a strong suit at getting to the edge potentially. Bounce it all the way here. He sees Egbuka going to pick up 29, and pretty solid seal there as well. And he does the second option of bouncing to the outside and gets a pretty decent gain. So I think that the vision and willingness to at least be patient sticks out to me as one of his, good strengths as a runner. A few more runs, good job getting up the middle and just bowling forward. I mean, again, doesn't do it great on every play, but here puts his head down and picks up about a first down near the goal line. I don't think you have to be worried of him not getting a ton of goal line snaps in the NFL. The reason he didn't at Ohio State his last season was because they clearly had Henderson as the pass catcher and clearly had Judkins as the power back. When you have a guy as good as Judkins in college football, you don't really need to use Henderson around the goal line that much, but definitely shows solid, and he can do it at times. This right here is going to do a good job getting to the outside. I mean, on these outside runs, he's just fantastic. You'll see here, does a good job. Little stutter stop, very patient, gets between the hole, and does a good job getting on a move to the outside and really gets past this defender, just gets eaten up by the sideline once again. Next play, run up the middle. I mean, this is not a great, he kind of runs behind his offensive lineman when ideally, let's run this back. I would like him to go, okay, does a good job, gets patient, gets here. Now, I don't like that he tries to cut it this way. I can kind of see the idea, but his lineman's right here. It's just so congested. I would ideally like him to cut it to the outside or, to the right and try and take that defender on one-on-one. But he doesn't really have, even though he's athletic, doesn't really have a ton of great one-on-one moves. Again, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a weakness. He's very athletic. He can do it. We saw it last play. Solid move to get to the outside and then beat a defender. But it's definitely not like a super, super big strength of his. Doesn't do a great job. Kind of bounces off both ways and falls forward for a few yards. Again, he's fine. I just don't think it's a massive strength in his game. This right here is the juice, though, and the athleticism that I'm talking about with Henderson against the Oregon Ducks, one of the best defenses in the nation. Does a good job, finds that hole, and just bursts forward. Fantastic speed, gets to the second level, and falls forward. I mean, this is a great job reading his blocks. He sees, has plenty of space, big hole cleared for him right here, and is able to use his speed, and again, doesn't just stop and slow down everything. He uses his vision when he needs to the plays breaking down, but when he can go 0 to 100, does a great job, has a lot of juice, and extremely fast getting the second level. Fantastic play right here again. Does a good job there. He stops for a second, bounces it to the outside, and essentially gets pushed out at about the 1. I mean, yeah, that sucks. You would have liked that to be a touchdown, but that's still a home run in my opinion. He doesn't get tracked down for quite some time when he gets to the second level at about the 40. And right here again, we'll break down the vision. Gets the ball. You see the initial play, I would assume, is maybe like a halfback dive where he wants to go up the middle, recognizes this linebacker is here, and recognizes there's a bigger hole to his left, puts his foot in the ground, does a good job of, not going 0 to 100 after he just went 0 to 100 on that last play, slowing down, putting his foot in the ground, and breaking. And here he is with a defender. And the defender's honestly pretty close to him. He has a decent angle on Henderson, but unless he is a very fast back and has a lot of juice, he's not going to get caught. And it does that, proves he's fast, proves he has juice, displays that, hitting a massive home run on that play right there. Another outside run for Henderson just demonstrates his speed incredibly well. It would have beat essentially 2 defenders to the edge. Doesn't get a massive gain, but I do just really like to see the speed on tape. Clearly faster, able to outrun this defender, and this defender has a decent angle on him, really good angle on him actually, and he's still able to get about even with him to pick up a decent chunk of yards. Another pass catching opportunity for Henderson, close to the line of scrimmage once again because he misses his block, but great hands, does a good job making a move in space, and gets to inside, picks up a few yards. Again, not really much else he could do there, but I think that is, a juke, pretty solid move. I mean, he's trying to, really, realistically, he should be dead in the water, right? Henderson's right here, and you have 2 guys on his left and right. Really no move besides running them over would work, and obviously that's tough. But there's a good job getting to the inside with a juke move. So, again, it's not like he has no one-on-one, tackle breaking ability, no great juke moves, no anything like that. It's just not anything special. Does a good job breaking a tackle here, though. Gets met in the line of scrimmage. Fantastic juke move. Gets outside, and not really much else besides that, but good juke move there. Just can't get it done consistently, but it's definitely in his game. This is a route that Henderson runs better than any of the running backs in this class. A really nice wheel route, and this is deep down the field. This is not close to the line of scrimmage like those other 2 we saw at the beginning of the tape. This right here gets pretty far downfield, catches it very smooth, breaks a tackle, tries to stay in bounds, and picks up a few extra yards. You'll see, gets really far down the field, and he's the primary read, but just how naturally he catches the ball can tell you a lot about if a player will succeed at the NFL level. He catches it in stride, is able to get yards after the catch as well. It just pops out to me that is a running back that can clearly catch the ball. Versus when you watch it, you watch Caleb Johnson, you watch Omarion Hampton, it's a lot more forced, in my opinion. Here he is against Penn State, showing just the down-to-down inconsistency. Not really sure what he could have done. The linebacker came free, hitting him in the backfield on this inside play. Just not going to find a lot of success on it because he can't run that defender over. This next play, though, when he has a decent lane, clears up the middle, is able to get a extra few yards falling forward. Very good run there. It's not like either of those were fantastic plays or really bad plays. He's just adequate, can take what's given to him. I think we see that over and over. It's just the inconsistency of he doesn't have, elite trucking ability, doesn't have elite size like these other backs. Last 2 plays I want to highlight on the film. Here you'll see Henderson in the backfield, gonna get another outside run. And this right here, when he's given space, able to fall forward, breaks a tackle, gets a few extra yards. When you get given the ball to the outside, he looks like a fantastic runner. He has space to work. He's able to make a move, able to fall forward a lot. It's a great cut as well to get to the middle, and he has now a great angle on this linebacker right here who is trying to tackle him sideways. No defender is really in front of him except for the safety now, and does a good job. Breaks that tackle, gets extra yards, and then gets brought down eventually by the 2 defenders and back. This right here just drives home my point about Henderson's hands even further. The ball is pretty badly thrown. Obviously, Will Howard under pressure just tries to get the ball out to his running back who's leaking, and the ball has to bring it in with one hand, tips it back to his body, great concentration, able to catch the ball and fall down. Again, that is some truly special hands plays from a running back. You're not going to see in these big games, I didn't see it a ton being asked from him, but you see the deep wheel route, clearly more of a route tree than just, a screen pass. Like, I didn't really see that too much from any of these other running backs. You see the hands very well demonstrated, soft hands, and this play right here really drives it home when he's able to
bring it in with one hand, bring it to his body, and make essentially a diving catch, which is just a clear, fantastic display of his hands and capability in the receiving game.
Now, after watching the film, looking at these advanced stats, take into account that Henderson broke out as a true freshman compared to Hampton or Johnson. Also, I did see Henderson in person 2 other times. To add on to this film that I watched on him, it's pretty clear and easy for me to reassert the confidence I have of putting him as the RB2 in the 2025 draft class. Now, this is all pending combine results, all pending NFL draft capital, which will change things a lot. But as a prospect, I hope that you can at least see my argument as why I have Henderson as my RB2, because coming into this film and, deeper dive into the stats, I did have Hampton as my RB2, but I bumped him down to my RB3. So I hope I can change your perspective, or at least, give the argument. I think it's super fun to debate about rookies, especially running backs, this time of the offseason. So if you're looking for more of that, be sure to come back. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check us out for more future videos. But I really hope you did enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.